Hi, this is Shannon. This is Cycle 2, Week 3, Tutor Ideas. I am excited to share with you some fun ideas you can use at home or as a tutor to help practice the memory work with your kids. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little kids, 6, 4, and 2. And we do classical homeschooling, and I get to tutor the obesitarians in our homeschool group and just love it, and I love sharing my ideas. I hope these are helpful for you. Also, if you haven't seen this, make sure you check out my Cycle 2 Memory Work Activity Book. Is now available both in physical and digital form, and it just has a fun, simple activity for each subject for all 24 weeks. So for example, this week is week 3. So we have a geography activity for the kids to do with the Western European countries. There's a history activity, science activity, and then each week also has a page with math, Latin, and English as well. So there's an activity for all 24 weeks, just a way to give your kids some practice with the memory work during the week, no prep for you. I also have this European countries workbook that's been really fun to just dive deeper into Europe. My kids have been working on 1 or 2 countries a week, and we talk about them and learn about a dish that's popular there, an animal that's really common there, and just a fun fact. And they get to color each country and see where it is in Europe. For example, this is Italy, so you can see they also get to color the flag. Just a fun way to dive deeper into Europe. And one more thing I'll share with you, I just finished making these placemats for the first quarter. So this is week's 3 placemat. I do the history on one side, and then the science on the back. And I made these because I wanted a way for my kids to just be able to dive a little bit deeper into the history and science topics as we're at the table doing our morning time. So I have these for the first 6 weeks. They're a digital download, but you can print them and laminate them if you want, make them placemats. So I will link below where you can find those resources. I hope you find them helpful. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of my video because I have some more fun free games that you can do with your kids this week at home to just dive deeper into the memory work and practice it with them at home. I have a fun science game and a Latin endings bingo game, so I will share those at the end and where you can get those for free. So we're going to start with geography. I like to normally start with geography because I use these Trivium table maps that are from the Classical Conversations bookstore. Our director graciously gets us these, but you can purchase them yourself or you can just laminate the maps that come in the Sandbox e-zine too. So what I do before Community Day is I prepare these maps by outlining each country in a different color because I am tutoring the obesitarians, so it just makes it easier for them to see it. If you're tutoring older kids, then you could just have them do that too. So we are learning today about Portugal, Spain, France, England, and Ireland. So what I'm going to do is I have these mini hands. I got these a couple years ago. Super fun. I use them a lot. Definitely worth it if you want to invest in them. They're not that expensive. I'll link them in my blog post, but I'm going to give each kid one, and we're going to go to each country and point to them and say the name of the country. So I'll say, okay, let's all find the orange country. Point with your tiny hand to the orange country. What's the name of that country? Portugal. Great. Now go to the purple country, and etc. And then I'm going to teach them a song and have them sing along with me as they touch the countries with their tiny hands. So it goes like this. Western European countries, Ireland, England, Portugal, Spain, and France. Western European countries, Ireland, England, Portugal, Spain, and France. So you can sing it with them a couple times, have them point to the countries as you say the country in the song. And then I like to do a little game where I say, okay, who can tell me what's the name of the red country? Who remembers? France, yeah, okay. What's the name of the pink country? Ireland. So it's just a way to review again at the end. You can also review continents and oceans with them, the European seas that we learned last week. It's really easy to review geography when they have their map right in front of them. So I usually do that. I also review at the end, but I make sure to review at least some of the geography when it's right there. It's just really easy to do. So that is geography this week. Next, we're going to do English. We are talking about pronoun order this week. So I'm going to bring in this painter's tape. This is super handy for lots of reasons. I'm going to lay out 8 long strips about a foot or so apart so the kids can jump from each strip to the next one, and long enough so all the kids can stand in a line on the strip. So obviously, if you do this, you would need some space. In our community where we meet, I can go out into the hallway and do this with them. So that's what I'm planning on. So the first strip will represent pronoun order singular, and then the next strip will be first person, the next one second person, next one third person. Then the 5th one, I think that is, would be pronoun order plural, and then I would have first person, second person, third person. So that totals 8 strips of tape. I also made just these little signs that if you want to use, you can download them and print them out. Obviously, you could just write these too, but like this is second person singular, first person singular. So I'm just going to lay these down by each strip of tape so we remember what each strip represents. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have all the kids line up on the first one, and we're going to sing a song to the tune God is So Good. So it's going to go like this. Pronoun order, singular. And then we're going to jump. First person, jump again. Second person, third person. Pronoun order, plural. First person, second person, third person. So again, we're going to start on the first strip of tape and sing pronoun order, singular. Then we're going to jump. First person jump, second person jump, third person, then jump again. Pronoun order, plural. Jump. First person jump, second person jump, third person, if that makes sense. I'll sing the song so you can hear me without saying jump too. It goes like this. Pronoun order, singular. First person, second person, third person. Pronoun order, plural. First person, second person, third person. So you can do that one way, and then you can have them jump the other way. And then you could have them do it jumping on one foot, and then you could have them jump on the other single foot. You could have them try to jump backwards if that's not too crazy. So you could definitely do it several times to help them really get that song and the pronoun order in their head. So that is English. For timeline this week, I have my timeline cards again. Again, I got these from the Classical Conversations bookstore. I highly recommend investing in them. They're awesome to have as a tutor and just at home. You can have your kids put them in order. You can have kids stick the ones you've learned so far up on the wall. There's so many things you can do with them. Really great resource. I put these big paper letters on mine just because I tutor the younger kids and not all of them can read yet, and so it just helps them identify the events. I get these letters from the dollar store. So what I'm going to do this week is I will have these hidden around the room before our class time begins. And so when we get to timeline, I'll say, okay, go find a timeline card that's hidden around the room. And depending on how many kids you have, they could find 1 or 2 cards each. And then I'll tell them, okay, once you find a card, I want you to bring it to the table and put it on top, face up on the table. So once all the cards are face up on the table, I will spread them out so we can see all of them. And then I will also have put these numbers in the 4 corners of our room. So obviously you can just write numbers on sticky notes. I will link these if you want to print them. I've printed and laminated them and used them for 4 corners review games and this and other things, so they're handy to have. I have each corner numbered, and I tell the kids, I want you to split up, and some people stand in each corner, and I help them. If everybody goes to corner 1, I'll be like, no, you need to go to corner 2. So there's at least a couple of kids in each corner. Then what I will do is I will say, okay, our first card is Hinduism in India. What does Hinduism start with? Oh, an H. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'll roll our die, and I get a 2. So Johnny from corner 2, I want you to come up and see if you can find Hinduism in India. So he'll look on the table and he'll find it, and I'll say, awesome, can you go put that up on the first spot on our wall, and I always put pieces of painter's tape up on the wall so he can stick it on the first spot. Then we'll do that again. So I'll say the next event is Phoenicians in the alphabet. Who knows what Phoenician starts with? Ooh, that's a tricky one. But hopefully somebody will know PH or I can help them. I'll say, okay, I'm gonna roll again. Let's see what I get. A 1. So Jenny from corner 1, come see if you can find the right timeline card. So she'll find Phoenicians in the alphabet and I'll tell her to go put it up on the second spot. Once somebody's done it, obviously I'll let another kid go. So if I roll the same corner, I'll let another person go. If somebody's already gone, I'll roll again. If I roll a 5 or a 6, I'll just roll again so I can get one of the 4 corners. So once we have all the cards up on the wall, then we will go over our motions together. Now we've already done this in our big community group time, so I don't spend a ton of time on this, but I go over the motions quickly with them again, and then we all sing it together 1 or 2 times. All right, so the motions this week, we're going to start with Hinduism in India, and then Phoenicians in the alphabet. I'm going to make a boat, so Phoenicians and the alphabet, so A, B. Mesoamerica, Israelite exodus and desert wandering. So I'm just sticking my finger and wandering like that. And then Israelite conquest and judges. So I'm going to go up and down like that. And then Greek dark ages. And then bring my hands together and link them. Israel's United Kingdom. Okay, so I'll do that one more time just with the tune and the motions together. So Hinduism in India, Phoenicians and the alphabet, Mesoamerica, Israelite exodus and desert wandering, Israelite conquest and judges, Greek dark ages, Israel's United Kingdom. So those are our motions for this week. You can practice it with the kids several times. I usually sing myself instead of trying to play the song because then I can slow it down as much as I want, but you could also play it too. That's timeline. For math this week, we are learning the 5s and the 6s, skip counting them. So for the 5s, I will chant it first for them. So 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. And then I'm going to have them turn to the person on their right and high five them as we sing. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. And then I'll have them turn to the person on their left and high five with their other hand. So 5, 10, etc. Then I'll have them find another partner and they can do low fives to each other. You could have them do it with one hand and then with the other hand. And that will give them some practice of the 5s. And then for the 6s, we sing them like this. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, 72, 78, 84, 90. So I'll sing it for them, show them it on my tutor board, and then I will hand out to them an action card. I've mentioned these in my past 2 videos if you've watched, but you can download these for free. These are a great resource to use for tutoring or at home or both, like jumping jacks, squats, walk backwards, pop like popcorn. There's lots of fun ones. So they can each have an action card and you can sing the 6s as you do the different actions. So that is math this week. For history, we are learning about Richard the Lionhearted. So I'll show you my placemat again just for a visual. This is really fun to have at home. It has a timeline and captions and fun images and a map. So just a fun way to dive deeper with your kids at home if you're interested. Or you could bring it to show the kids in your class too. But what I'm mainly going to do for history is share the song with them, and I'm going to throw some silly words in. So first I'm going to sing the history song to them, or you could say it, but it's fun to sing the song normally, and I'm going to tell them to listen really carefully because in a minute I'm going to throw some silly words in and they're going to have to tell me if they hear a silly word. All right, so the normal song goes like this. Richard the Lion-Hearted, son of Eleanor of Aquitaine, fought the Turks for Jerusalem. during the time of the Crusades, from 1095 to 1291. So sing that to them. You could also play it because it's a CC song. And then I will sing it to them with some silly words and have them raise their hand if they hear it. So I'll start out saying, Richard the lion-footed. I'll be like, footed? No, what should it be? Oh, lion-hearted. Oh, okay. And then once they do that, I start at the beginning again and sing it correctly until the next silly word. So, Richard the lion-hearted, son of elephant, of Aquitaine. Wait, not elephant. What should it be? Oh, Eleanor. Okay. And then I go back to the beginning again and do it again until the next silly word. So I'll read you the silly words I use. You could just make them up on the fly too. But again, I do footed instead of hearted, elephant instead of Eleanor, turkeys instead of Turks, watermelon instead of Jerusalem, parades instead of crusades. So I like this because I do go back and sing it the correct way until the next silly word, so they're hearing it correctly a lot of times. Then once you finish that, you could have them just kind of march or dance around as you sing it a couple more times correctly. So that's history. For science this week, I'm really excited. We're going to play a fun game. So first, I'll tell them about the 3 types of consumers, so herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore, and I will teach them a song to the tune Happy Birthday. It goes like, what are 3 types of consumers? Herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore. What are 3 types of consumers? Herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore. So we'll sing that a couple of times. We'll talk quickly about what they mean. Herbivores like to eat plants mostly. Carnivores eat meat, so other animals, and omnivores eat both. I also have these cards that I'm excited to use with them. You could also use them at home if you feel like you won't have enough time, but this is going to be a quick game. So this is a parrot, which is an herbivore. So on the back of the card, you can see some foods that it likes to eat. So what I will do is I will choose a child to go first, and we are going to sit down for this. So I did want to mention, I have found tutoring the younger kids that having these dots for them to sit on is really nice. So I invested in these, but I'm going to put these in a circle, have us each sit on one. So we're sitting in a circle. And then I'm going to keep these in my hand and just choose one kid to go first and give them an animal. So they'll see the animal, but I'll tell them not to look at the back. So I'll give it to them so it's like they're seeing the animal but not the back of the card. So print them on cardstock so they're not see-through. And I'm going to have them put it on their head like this. And then I'm going to have all the other kids tell them what a parrot eats. So we'll look at the pictures. Ooh, parrot eats an apple and grapes and carrots and sunflower seeds. And then we'll all guess together. So what does that mean? Would a parrot be a carnivore or an herbivore or an omnivore? And then see if they can guess it. And it's an herbivore. And then I'll let another kid go and give them another animal. I happen to have another herbivore right here, but I have carnivores and omnivores too. I'll link it if you want to check out the cards. But a zebra, the same thing. I'll give it to the kids so they're like seeing the zebra but not the foods on the back. They'll hold it on their head. And then the other kids will tell them some plants, some bark, some grass. What do you think? And you can do this different ways. You can have like the kid who has it on their head be the one to guess herbivore, carnivore, or omnivore. If your kids are a little bit older, they can maybe do that. With little kids, I'm just going to let anybody kind of say, but it's just fun for them to put something on their head. So that's the game we're going to play. Again, I just had 2 herbivores that I happened to grab, but I've got cards for all of them, so I will link that. You could use it at home too as a game or just a learning tool to like look at the animal and see what they eat on the back. So that is science this week. For Latin, I made these a couple of years ago. They're just little cootie catcher animals, but I use them a lot and they're just fun. They're a little bent because they've been used, but you know, they still work. So what I will do, or you could bring in little puppets too, just, you know, whatever you have. This week we are running the first conjugation verb endings in imperfect tense. So I'm going to give each kid a little cootie catcher, or again, you could use little finger puppets. And I'm going to have each kid take a turn coming to the front. And I will sing it for them the first time. So it's a new group of Latin endings from last week because the first 2 weeks were the same. So I will sing it so they can hear it and show them on my tutor board, and then I'll have each kid take a turn coming up in front of the other kids with their cootie catcher and kind of leading it, and then the other kids will sing with their cootie catchers too. So it goes like this. Bomba spot, bomba spot is spot, bomba spot, bomba spot is spot. First conjugation in perfect tense. So again, I'm going to have each kid be a little leader in front of the other kids, but the other kids will have their cootie catchers to sing to the Latin as well. Again, puppets would work great too if you don't want to make these, but they're fun if you have time and want to make them. I'll link the instructions below. Just another fun tool to whip out, especially if you plan on tutoring for a little while. You could also use silly voices for Latin. I mentioned these before, my silly voice cards that you could download for free. Fast, superhero voice, lion voice. So if you already printed these and laminated them, this would be a really easy thing to use. Just sit in a circle and sing the Latin, the different silly voices. It's always fun for them. I've done it a lot. It never gets old with little kids. They love it. So another option too. For review this week, we are going to play this fun Stinky Feet game. You might have heard of this before. It's great. The kids in my groups in the past have just loved it. Once you do the work to kind of prep it, and it doesn't take that much work, then you can bring it in as much as you want for a review game. It's really fun. So I just put this little sign on the wall, so I'll tape it up with painter's tape. And then I have these little feet cards. You could also just use sticky notes. And I put a point value behind them. So like some of the point values are positive. This is positive 10. Some of them, this is positive 20. Some of them are negative. So I have them in increments of 5. So I have from negative 20 all the way to positive 20 in increments of 5 on the back of the cards. So what I'll do is I'll split the group into 2 teams, and then I will ask a review question. So for example, who is it that we learned about who defeated King Harold of England? Who remembers that? Who was that? Oh, William the Conqueror. So if somebody raises their hand and remembers, then they get to come up. And I didn't say, but I tape these feet to the wall around the Stinky Feet sign. So the point values are not showing, just the foot, and they'll be taped around like you can see. Whoever was able to answer that question comes and grabs one, turns it over, and it's like, and sees, is it a positive or negative? Uh-oh, it's negative. Oh no, it's stinky. If you want, you could have them take their shoes off because they have stinky feet. Totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. Totally don't have to do that. But then you could have a parent keep score. So that team got negative 20. And then you ask another review question. And whoever can answer it, that person can come up, take another foot, and say it's a positive value. Great. Then they get positive 10 for their team. And you just keep doing it as long as you want or until your feet run out. And then you could decide that the winning team has the lowest score or the highest score. You can decide what you feel, but you could have your parent add up all the scores, see who wins, and it's just really fun. So I have this game linked to my blog. It's free if you want to download it and use it. I used it a lot last year. It was really fun. Okay, as I promised, I'm going to share with you these free games that you can play with your kids during the week to practice the memory work. The reason I make these is because my kids love games. I love making them and just having them to reuse in the future. Just as a fun way to review the memory work. So we just love games a lot in our family. So the first one is a type of consumer's game. I made a little spinner. I got these spinners. They're really cheap. I got a pack of 2 and they work so much better than a paper clip, which I used to use, but I do have instructions if you don't have this on how to just use a paper clip. But you can just print off this printable, cut it out, make a little spinner, and then I have this game board. Now I have an option that's color-coded for maybe younger kids, and then I also have an option that's not. So you will spin the spinner, or your child spins the spinner, and say it hits omnivore. So then they've got to go to the first animal that they think is an omnivore. They start at start so they can think about, and if they're younger, it might help to have the color-coded one. So if they don't really know, they can like think about the color and that'll help them. So omnivore, ooh, a dog. And then you can talk about, hey, we have a dog if you have a dog. And what does that mean? What do omnivores eat again? So then they get to stay there. I also have a key if that helps too, if you have the non-color coded version. But then you just switch off, keep taking turns, just a fun way to talk about the different types of consumers and what they eat. Again, if you want to make it a little bit harder, I have it without color. So then you really have to know what is the next carnivore and really think about it. So that'd be good for older kids. The other game I made is a Latin bingo game. I made one like this last year. If you were watching my videos last year, this is different. This is for this year's Latin. And I have 7 different bingo boards like this and then calling cards. So this obviously has more than just this week's Latin, but it's something you could play throughout the year. And it has a little symbol for each ending to just help your kids know how to say that ending. For example, for E, I have a B to emphasize that E sound. For O, I have a little smiley face going, oh, oh. So just a good reminder. So you can just play bingo, practice the Latin. Those games are free. I will link in my description where you can get them. Thanks so much for watching. I hope these ideas were helpful for you. Please comment below if you have any questions. And if you are enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I am planning to post at least 1 video per week with tutor ideas and other homeschooling helpful tips and things like that. I also sometimes post videos about healthy eating recipes, habits we're doing as a family because I'm really passionate about that. Also, follow me on Instagram. I love to post just what I'm doing with my kids throughout the week homeschool-wise and healthy snacks and foods we're making, sourdough, things like that. Also, check out my blog, which has my shop and my free resource library and all these ideas written up in a blog post with links and stuff. So check that out. And thanks again for watching. Have a great day.